If Dubai is pure ambition, then Singapore is calculated precision. If Dubai is about dreaming big and building bigger, Singapore is about thinking deeply and executing perfectly. This is not a city that grew organically over time through merchant trade or colonial expansion. This is a city that was meticulously designed, engineered, and optimized by some of the sharpest minds in urban planning. Welcome to Global Lux Journeys, where we take you inside the world's most extraordinary destinations. If you want to understand how the most efficient society on Earth operates, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what you're about to discover will change how you think about cities forever. Singapore's story might just be the blueprint for how future cities will operate, and the lessons here are invaluable for anyone interested in urban innovation. Let's start with the harsh reality Singapore faced at independence in 1965. This tiny island nation had no oil reserves to fund development, no vast land area to expand into, and absolutely no backup plan if things went wrong. The country is smaller than New York City, with a total land area of just 730 square kilometers. That's roughly 1/5 the size of Rhode Island, the smallest state in America. Failure was not just undesirable for Singapore's leaders. It was not an option for survival. Surrounded by larger neighbors, Malaysia and Indonesia, sitting at the tip of the Malay Peninsula with no natural resources and a population of just 2 million people, Singapore's leaders understood that they had to engineer efficiency into every single layer of society or face economic irrelevance and potential absorption by neighboring countries. This existential pressure created something remarkable, a culture of precision, planning, and performance that permeates everything from government policy to public behavior to business operations. Every decision was made with the understanding that resources were desperately limited, that mistakes were extremely costly, and that excellence was the only path to survival and prosperity. Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore's founding prime minister, famously said that Singapore had to be better than everyone else just to survive. Not equal, not competitive, but definitively better. This is not just a city that wants to be efficient for the sake of efficiency. This is a nation that must be efficient to exist, to matter, to thrive in a world that gave it no natural advantages whatsoever. Have you ever thought about how scarcity and limitation can drive innovation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Singapore treats urban planning not as an art or a political negotiation, but as a precise science with measurable outcomes and predictable results. This fundamental approach separates Singapore from virtually every other city on Earth. Zoning is executed with surgical precision, with every district having a clear purpose and function that maximizes efficiency and minimizes conflict between different uses. Density is calculated based on infrastructure capacity, environmental impact, quality of life metrics, and long-term sustainability. The government doesn't just allow development to happen wherever market forces push it. They control exactly where density occurs, how much is permitted, and what mix of uses must be included. Green space is not optional or an afterthought added when there's room left over. It is mandatory and integrated into every single development plan by law. Singapore requires that new developments replace the greenery they displace, leading to the innovative concept of vertical greenery and sky gardens that have become architectural signatures of the city. But here's what makes Singapore truly different from other well-planned cities like Barcelona or Copenhagen. Singapore plans decades ahead, not just years or election cycles. The government has master plans extending 30, 40, even 50 years into the future, updated and refined every 5 years based on new data and changing circumstances. They anticipate population changes, economic shifts, technological disruptions, and climate challenges long before they happen. Urban planners work closely with demographers, economists, climate scientists, and technology experts to model countless scenarios and prepare strategic responses for each one. This level of foresight allows Singapore to build infrastructure before it becomes desperately needed, preventing the crises and bottlenecks that plague cities with short-term thinking and reactive policies. What's the longest-term planning you've seen in your city? Let us know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure you're subscribed to Global Lux Journeys. Most cities around the world talk endlessly about sustainability, make ambitious promises about carbon neutrality, and then struggle to implement even basic environmental programs. Singapore builds sustainability into the foundation of urban infrastructure and makes it work at scale. Gardens by the Bay, that stunning tourist attraction with futuristic super trees that everyone photographs, is not just decoration or a pretty photo opportunity for Instagram. It is functional infrastructure that serves multiple environmental purposes simultaneously. Those iconic super trees are actually vertical gardens that support hundreds of plant species, collect rainwater for irrigation, and generate solar power through photovoltaic cells built into their canopies. They're connected to the adjacent conservatories and provide cooling through innovative engineering that mimics natural processes. Green roofs across Singapore reduce urban heat island effects by several degrees Celsius, a critical function in a tropical city where temperatures hover around 30 degrees year-round. Vertical gardens on building facades clean the air by filtering pollutants through natural biological processes while providing insulation that reduces energy consumption. Rainwater is captured, treated, and reused, rather than being allowed to run off into the ocean. Singapore has built an integrated water management system that collects rainwater from 2/3 of the island's surface, treats wastewater to drinking water standards, and even imports water from Malaysia as a strategic backup. The city has even turned sewage treatment into an advanced technological process that produces NE water, recycled water so pure it exceeds World Health Organization standards for drinking water. This isn't experimental or aspirational. This is operational reality serving millions of people every single day, meeting up to 40% of Singapore's water demand. Sustainability here is not branding, marketing greenwashing, or political posturing. It is mathematics, engineering, proven results, and absolute necessity. Singapore measures everything obsessively, tracks environmental metrics in real time, and adjusts strategies based on hard data rather than political ideology or public opinion. The city has consistently ranked among the greenest cities in Asia, despite being one of the most densely populated urban areas on the planet. That's not an accident. That's deliberate design executed with precision. Do you think other cities could replicate Singapore's approach to sustainability? Give us your opinion in the comments below. Singapore has transformed into a living laboratory for smart city technology, and the results are both genuinely impressive and slightly unsettling, depending on your perspective and values. Traffic lights adapt in real time, based on current flow patterns, rather than following fixed schedules that waste time and fuel. The system uses sensors and cameras to detect congestion and adjust signal timing instantly. Public transport predicts demand using artificial intelligence algorithms that analyze historical patterns, current conditions, and even weather forecasts to adjust service frequency before congestion occurs. Buses arrive when needed, not on rigid schedules that ignore reality. Energy grids self-optimize, routing power efficiently to minimize waste and maximize reliability while integrating renewable sources and responding to demand fluctuations. The government collects massive amounts of data from sensors throughout the city, creating a digital twin that mirrors the physical Singapore in real time with incredible accuracy. This virtual Singapore platform allows planners to test scenarios, simulate disasters, optimize traffic patterns, and plan developments with precision that would be impossible without this technology. They can model how a new building will affect wind patterns, traffic flow, and energy consumption before breaking ground. Here's what makes Singapore's approach brilliant from an efficiency standpoint. The city does not ask citizens to change their behavior to accommodate inefficient systems or make sacrifices for the greater good. The system itself changes and adapts to serve citizens better while achieving policy goals invisibly. If a particular bus route is overloaded at certain times, the system adds more buses automatically. If traffic patterns shift due to construction or events, signals adjust instantly without human intervention. If energy demand spikes, the grid responds seamlessly. This creates a city that feels responsive and intelligent rather than rigid and bureaucratic, where systems work smoothly without citizens even noticing the complexity behind them. But this level of data collection, surveillance, and control raises important questions about privacy and autonomy that we'll address later in this documentary. Have you experienced smart city technology in action? Share your experience in the comments section. Here's a statistic that shocks most people when they first hear it, especially those from expensive Western cities struggling with housing crises. Over 80% of Singapore's citizens own their homes. In one of the most expensive cities on Earth, where real estate prices rival those of London and Hong Kong, home ownership is not a distant dream reserved for the elite. It is standard reality for the vast majority of the population. How is this possible when cities like San Francisco, London, and Sydney have home ownership rates dropping below 50%? The answer is the Housing and Development Board, or HDB, one of the most successful public housing programs in human history. Public housing in Singapore is not the dystopian nightmare you might imagine, based on failed projects in other countries like the United States or the United Kingdom. It is desirable, clean, well-maintained, and community-driven. The government builds high-quality apartments and sells them to citizens at subsidized rates through a system that prioritizes actual residents over investors and speculators. These are not cramped boxes in dangerous neighborhoods that people escape as soon as they can afford to. These are legitimate homes in safe communities with access to excellent schools, beautiful parks, convenient shopping, and efficient public transport. Many HDB estates include community centers, hawker centers serving affordable food, playgrounds, and sports facilities. The philosophy behind this is brilliant social engineering based on a deep understanding of human behavior. Ownership creates stability because people care more about communities they own a stake in. They maintain properties better, participate in community activities, and develop long-term perspectives. Stability creates productivity because people can focus on careers, education, and families rather than constantly worrying about rent increases, eviction, or housing insecurity. This is not charity or government handouts that create dependency. This is strategic nation-building executed flawlessly over decades with clear objectives and measurable outcomes. The result is a society with minimal homelessness, strong community bonds, broad-based wealth accumulation through property ownership, and social stability that underpins economic success. Singaporeans build equity through home ownership, creating intergenerational wealth that transforms families. What's the home ownership rate in your city? Drop it in the comments and make sure you're subscribed to Global Lux Journeys for more insights like this. Singapore's education system consistently ranks among the best in the world, often placing first in international assessments like PISA in mathematics, science, and reading. This is not luck or cultural accident. This is the result of deliberate strategy, massive investment, and relentless optimization. The government invests heavily in education, paying teachers competitive salaries that attract top talent, providing continuous professional development, and creating career paths that reward excellence. Teachers in Singapore are respected professionals, not underpaid workers struggling to make ends meet. The curriculum emphasizes not just rote memorization, but critical thinking, problem-solving, and practical application. Students learn multiple languages from an early age, with English as the primary medium of instruction and their mother tongue as a second language, creating a bilingual population that can operate globally. Meritocracy is taken seriously, with students tracked based on ability and provided appropriate challenges. This is controversial in some Western contexts, but produces results. The system identifies talented students early and provides advanced opportunities while ensuring struggling students receive support. The focus extends beyond academics to character development, physical education, arts, and values that build well-rounded individuals prepared for life, not just exams. The goal is creating productive citizens who contribute to society, not just passing tests. Singapore has also become a global education hub, attracting international students and establishing partnerships with top universities worldwide. This creates a talent pipeline that serves the economy while generating revenue and soft power. What's your experience with education systems? Let us know in the comments. Now we arrive at perhaps the most controversial aspect of Singapore for Western observers: the strict rules, rigid enforcement, and laws that many democracies would consider excessive or authoritarian. Rules are strict, covering everything from chewing gum to littering to jaywalking to public behavior. The famous chewing gum ban, while often exaggerated, is real and reflects the government's approach to maintaining cleanliness. Systems are enforced consistently without exceptions for wealth, status, or connections. If you litter, you pay a fine. If you vandalize property, you face serious consequences, including caning for some offenses. If you violate drug laws, penalties are severe, including capital punishment for trafficking. Efficiency is protected through laws that many Western democracies would consider invasive. Smoking is banned in most public places. Alcohol consumption is restricted in certain areas and times. Public assembly requires permits. Media is regulated. But here's the crucial nuance that most outsiders miss when they criticize Singapore as authoritarian. Freedom exists inside structure, rather than instead of structure. This is not a binary choice between total freedom and total control, but a different balance point on the spectrum. Singaporeans enjoy economic freedom and the ability to start businesses, build wealth, and pursue careers without the corruption, bureaucracy, or inefficiency that plague many democracies. They enjoy personal safety at levels most cities can only dream about. Women can walk alone at night without fear. Violent crime is virtually non-existent. Property crime is rare. They enjoy clean streets, functioning infrastructure, and public services that actually work reliably. The trains run on time, the buses arrive as scheduled, the government delivers services efficiently, parks are maintained, streets are swept. The trade-off is accepting strict rules about public behavior, limited political dissent, and government oversight that extends into areas Western democracies consider private. Political opposition exists, but operates within constraints. Media freedom is limited compared to Western standards. Privacy is less protected. Singapore proves something that makes many uncomfortable, especially those raised in Western liberal democracies. Order is not necessarily the enemy of progress or prosperity. In fact, in Singapore's case, order enables progress by reducing friction, preventing chaos, and allowing society to focus energy on productive activities rather than managing constant crises. This does not mean Singapore's model is perfect, universally applicable, or should be copied everywhere without modification. But it does challenge simplistic assumptions about the relationship between freedom, order, development, and human flourishing. What's your take on this balance? Let's have a respectful discussion in the comments. Every model has costs, and Singapore's approach is no exception. We need to address this honestly. The fundamental trade-off Singapore makes is privacy versus efficiency, individual freedom versus collective order, political expression versus social stability. Cameras monitor public spaces constantly and extensively. The surveillance network is one of the most comprehensive in the world. Data collection is extensive and centralized in government systems. Political dissent faces legal consequences that would be unthinkable in Western democracies. Opposition politicians have been sued for defamation, fined, or even jailed. The government has significant power to shape society through policy in ways that more democratic systems simply cannot or will not. Media is regulated, online content is monitored, and public assembly is controlled. This is not speculation or exaggeration. This is documented reality. Singapore chooses results over absolute freedom. The city-state prioritizes efficiency, cleanliness, safety, economic growth, and social stability above individual autonomy in many areas. And here's the uncomfortable truth that bothers many critics, especially Western liberals. It works remarkably well by most measurable standards that people actually care about in daily life. Low crime rates that make Singapore one of the safest places on Earth. High incomes with GDP per capita exceeding $60,000. Excellent education producing world-leading test scores and university graduates. world-class healthcare with life expectancy among the highest globally, functional infrastructure that actually serves people efficiently. The question is not whether Singapore's system produces results. It clearly does, and the results are impressive by almost any metric. The question is whether those results justify the methods, whether the trade-offs are acceptable, and whether you personally would accept that bargain. There is no universally correct answer to this question. Different people weight privacy, freedom, efficiency, safety, and prosperity differently based on their values, experiences, and priorities. Some people would gladly trade some privacy for greater safety. Others would never accept that exchange at any price. What would you be willing to give up for a safer, cleaner, more efficient city? This is not a rhetorical question. Share your honest thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a real conversation about these difficult trade-offs. Singapore's economic transformation is one of the most remarkable stories in modern history. In 1965, at independence, GDP per capita was less than $1,000. Unemployment was high, industry was limited. The future looked uncertain at best and bleak at worst. Today, Singapore has a GDP per capita exceeding $65,000, higher than that of the United States, the United Kingdom, or Japan. The city-state is a global financial center, a technology hub, a logistics powerhouse, and a center for high-value manufacturing. How did this happen in just 60 years? Strategic planning and ruthless execution. The government identified sectors where Singapore could compete globally and focused resources there. Financial services, because Singapore's location, legal system, and political stability made it an ideal regional hub. Shipping and logistics, because the port's strategic position between the Indian and Pacific Oceans was a natural advantage. High-tech manufacturing, because Singapore could offer skilled labor, reliable infrastructure, and attractive tax incentives to global companies. Biomedical research and production, because the government decided to build capabilities in life sciences before it was fashionable. Tourism, because Singapore could market itself as a clean, safe, efficient gateway to Asia. The government didn't just hope these sectors would develop naturally. They created economic zones, built infrastructure, educated workers with relevant skills, attracted global companies with incentives, and enforced quality standards rigorously. Foreign investment was actively courted and protected. Companies like Apple, Google, and pharmaceutical giants established major operations in Singapore because the government made it attractive and easy. The legal system protects intellectual property. Contracts are enforced. Corruption is virtually eliminated. Innovation is encouraged through funding, tax breaks, and regulatory support. Singapore consistently ranks among the most competitive economies in the world. The economic success is not luck or accident. It is strategy executed with precision over decades. If you're finding these insights valuable, hit that like button and subscribe to Global Lux Journeys for more content like this. Dubai builds dreams that inspire millions to imagine what is possible when vision meets capital and determination. Singapore sustains systems that actually deliver consistent results over decades. One city inspires through sheer audacity and ambition, creating monuments to human capability and possibility. The other delivers through meticulous planning and disciplined execution, creating quality of life that rivals anywhere on Earth. Dubai says anything is achievable if you want it badly enough and commit sufficient resources without regard for conventional limits. Singapore says everything is achievable if you plan carefully enough, execute precisely, and maintain discipline over the long term. Dubai attracts people with dreams of wealth, luxury, and limitless possibilities in a city where the future is always under construction. Singapore attracts people with desires for stability, safety, efficiency, and predictable prosperity in a city that works exactly as designed. Together, these two cities reveal different paths toward the future of urban civilization. Different answers to the fundamental question of how humans should organize themselves in an increasingly complex, connected, and challenging world. Neither is perfect. Both face serious challenges, but both prove that the old rules of city development no longer apply in the 21st century. Cities can be consciously designed rather than organically grown. Geography can be overcome through technology and determination. Efficiency can be engineered into society through intelligent systems. Development can happen in decades rather than centuries. Success can be achieved through strategic planning rather than historical accident. The question facing cities worldwide is which model to follow, or whether to create hybrid approaches that combine the best elements of both while avoiding the pitfalls. Can you have Dubai's ambition with Singapore's discipline? Can you achieve Singapore's efficiency without its restrictions? Can you build Dubai's speed with Singapore's sustainability? These are not abstract questions. Cities around the world are watching both Dubai and Singapore closely, studying their successes and failures, and attempting to replicate or adapt their strategies to local contexts. If you found value in this documentary and gained new insights into urban development, smash that like button right now. Subscribe to Global Lux Journeys for more deep dives into the world's most extraordinary destinations and urban innovations. Drop a comment telling us which city surprised you more, Dubai or Singapore, and which model you think is more sustainable long-term. Your engagement helps us create better content and reach more people who care about these topics. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, where we explore another remarkable destination that's shaping our world.